Queen Camilla is said to have completely lost her composure after shocking DNA results allegedly confirmed the existence of King Charles's secret love child. For decades, rumors swirled about hidden affairs and hushed whispers in palace corridors. But now the truth may finally be out. So how long has this secret been buried? Who is this mysterious heir? And why is Camilla's reaction so intense? Let's dive in. A secret heir has rocked the monarchy to its core. For generations, rumors of hidden lovers and unacknowledged children swirled around the royal family, but nothing prepared them for the undeniable truth delivered in a single letter. It wasn't dramatic or desperate, just a professional DNA report from a certified European lab. No ambiguity. A 99.9% match, not to William or Harry, but to King Charles III himself. When the results hit the palace, Buckingham went into lockdown. Press teams were gagged, legal departments panicked, and internal memos vanished. But truth can't be buried forever, and soon the world knew. The timing couldn't have been worse. Charles, newly crowned and still finding his footing, was vulnerable. Camilla, still fighting for public approval, faced a brutal blow. The child was born before Diana, before Camilla, a relic of a long-buried affair. Camilla's rise from scandal to queen had always been fragile. This revelation shattered it. The affair wasn't just a betrayal, it had created a child. And though he may not want the crown, his very existence demands a place in the royal story. Inside the palace, chaos exploded, shouted arguments, broken heirlooms, legal threats. And through it all, Charles remained silent, almost resigned, as if he'd always known the past would come back to claim him. This leads us to the royal secret buried for decades. But who exactly was the woman that even Diana never dared mention? The royal secret buried for decades. In the late 1970s, before Diana enchanted the world and before Camilla stood beside King Charles, there was another woman, Sarah, who nearly changed royal history. While Camilla had just married Andrew Parker Bowles and Diana was still a teenager, Charles, already 30 and burdened by royal expectations, was quietly falling for Sarah. Their secret romance reportedly lasted over 2 years, with Balmoral as their secluded haven. Late-night calls were routed through trusted staff, and a romantic trip to Italy in 1979 was disguised as official business. Insiders whisper about a broken engagement abruptly ended after Queen Elizabeth allegedly decided Sarah was too independent to be controlled by the crown. Sarah vanished from the royal scene without scandal. She married a French ambassador, moved to Switzerland, and gave birth to a baby boy 9 months after her last meeting with Charles. A former valet recalled the prince being unusually withdrawn that day, as if burdened by an unspoken truth. The boy was raised quietly in Europe, educated in elite schools, his tuition mysteriously covered by a British benefactor. At 18, a luxury car appeared, its buyer untraceable. He avoided attention, yet was once spotted entering a London law firm known for handling royal matters, slipping in through a rear entrance. 4 years, the story was just a whisper, too risky for the press, too dangerous for palace staff. The royal family denied everything. Even Queen Elizabeth dismissed it as fantasy. But hints began to surface. A weekly red rose delivered to a woman Charles never forgot, a royal archivist reassigned after discovering hidden letters, and an anonymous tip to a European outlet claiming Charles's deepest secret has his exact face. Still, the official line never changed. No recognition, no apology, no comment. But behind palace walls, tensions simmered. Camilla, known for her intense protectiveness, allegedly forbade Charles from ever mentioning Sarah's name. And when a trusted aide once asked the future king if he had fathered a child before Diana, Charles, so the story goes, went ghostly pale. Now, with DNA testing turning whispers into proof, a man stands ready to claim what's been long denied. His story has no royal christening, no polished family portraits, just decades of quiet existence far from scandal, but buried in silence. But if he's truly the king's firstborn, why has Buckingham Palace never dared to say his name out loud? Stay right there because what comes next will shake the monarchy to its core. The secret son of King Charles, Sebastian David Kiel, a name whispered in exclusive circles, yet barely known to the world. His life has always been a contradiction. He's lived under a spotlight that somehow never touched him. Out in the open but always behind a veil. Raised in privilege yet never quite claimed. But behind his refined smile and polished manner lies a mystery that's becoming harder and harder to contain. Could he be the secret, unacknowledged son of King Charles III? Born in Geneva in early 1980, exactly 9 months after Lady Sarah Kiel's final recorded visit to the UK, Sebastian arrived without fanfare, without a listed father on his birth certificate. His mother, noble by blood and fiercely private, refused interviews, shut herself away in a quiet countryside estate outside Lausanne, and vanished from public life. From the beginning, Sebastian's world was different. His education was fully funded by a family trust. No details, just money. He attended an elite Montessori school followed by one of Britain's most prestigious boarding schools. Teachers described him as unusually articulate, intensely inquisitive, and remarkably composed for someone so young. One instructor even joked, "It's like he was trained to stand before cameras but kept out of the frame." Then there was his appearance. Sharp jawline, closely set eyes, and a regal posture that reminded many of a young Prince Charles. One headmaster once said, "He looks like he walked straight out of Balmoral." Sebastian would only grin when asked about his resemblance, never offering more. By his 20s, he moved to London, not to chase fame or fortune, but to quietly study international law at King's College. No social media, no flashy lifestyle. Yet every expense, his tuition, his rent, even his bespoke tailoring, was mysteriously covered. Friends found it odd but never questioned it until one of them discovered that the financial trail led back to a discreet trust. A trust linked to a law firm with long-standing ties to the Duchy of Cornwall, King Charles's former estate. And then came the sightings. Sebastian entered Clarence House. Never through the front, always discreetly, after dark. No announcements. No records. One palace chauffeur recalled being warned by a superior, "If she, Camilla, ever finds out he's still speaking to Charles, it'll be World War III." Sebastian has never spoken to the press. No interviews, no memoirs, but those close to him say he's always known the truth. A childhood friend recalls him at 16 opening a worn envelope and whispering, "Everything I thought I knew about myself is a lie." Now, the silence ends. Sebastian's legal team is taking action. DNA proof shakes the throne, and the legal battle begins. It didn't start with a press conference or public outrage. It began quietly, at the coronation. As King Charles placed the crown on his head, Sebastian David Kiel watched from the shadows. For over 40 years, he'd lived with whispers, quiet payments, and a hidden identity. But watching the man he believed was his father become king while ignoring his existence was the breaking point. He snapped. Sebastian started making calls, legal consultations, confidential talks, and finally initiated a DNA test through an elite Swiss lab known for working with royals. But to confirm paternity, they needed a sample from Charles. A sympathetic former palace butler secured a heir from the king's travel comb. The chain of custody was clean and fully documented. Sebastian's own sample was collected under strict supervision. The result, a 99.97% genetic match to King Charles III. No doubts, no loopholes. He was the king's biological son. Rather than go public, Sebastian's legal team delivered a private letter to Clarence House. Inside were the DNA results, a handwritten note, and one simple request: acknowledge the truth. No demands for a title or fortune, just recognition. The palace's response wasn't outrage or denial. It was silence, that cold, paralyzing silence that screams louder than words ever could. One insider said it best: they didn't question the results. They already knew. In the hours that followed, all hell quietly broke loose. Camilla was pulled from public appearances without explanation. Lawyers were mobilized. Internal communications were frozen. And Charles? He didn't speak. He reportedly walked the halls like a man haunted by ghosts he never buried. Then the leak. The genetic report. Royal DNA bombshell. Secret heir to the throne confirmed. Crown contaminated by hidden bloodline. And just like that, the royal illusion cracked. Camilla got furious after the incident was uncovered. But is her rage hiding something even darker? Stay tuned. Behind closed doors, Camilla's fury over Charles's secret son raged. Long before the news broke, Camilla had built her life around carefully controlled appearances and a meticulously crafted image. She rose from the shadows of scandal to become queen consort, weathering years of public judgment as the woman who came between Charles and Diana. Yet nothing could have prepared her for the storm that would erupt when the palace's most closely guarded secret was finally exposed through undeniable, cold, hard science. The DNA test results arrived quietly, but instantly shattered the calm facade of Clarence House. It was the moment when centuries of royal secrecy, spin, and carefully crafted stories faced a force they could no longer resist. The king had a son, another son, and not with Camilla. This revelation didn't just threaten the monarchy's public image. It struck at the very heart of Camilla's reign, shaking the foundations of everything she had fought so hard to secure. Staff who witnessed the aftermath described an atmosphere thick with tension, suffocating almost as if the very walls of the palace were closing in. For Camilla, the scandal wasn't just a public embarrassment. It was a personal attack that felt like a war waged inside her own home. At first, the signs were subtle. A cancelled afternoon meeting with royal charities, a sudden reshuffling of her security detail, a private dinner with Charles moved from a shared room to opposite ends of the grand house, filled instead with cold distance. Then came the explosion. Sources close to the palace revealed that Camilla screamed for nearly 20 minutes upon receiving the DNA report. She retreated to her room, where, overcome with fury, she threw crystal glassware against the walls in a violent display of rage. Longtime staff members recalled never hearing such intense anger from her before. One maid reportedly left the suite in tears, stunned by the queen consort's breakdown. It was clear, it was about the undeniable proof of a living child, a son with royal blood, whose existence challenged Camilla's place by the king's side. 4 years, Camilla had faced the world as the other woman, enduring scorn and headlines branding her a home wrecker. She survived those storms. She triumphed, marrying Charles and rising to become queen consort. But now, just as her coronation seemed imminent, the past returned, not as whispers or rumors, but as flesh and blood. This man, Sebastian, came armed with DNA proof, media backing, and the power to unravel the carefully spun narrative of Camilla's queenship with a single honest interview. The palace scrambled to contain the fallout. Camilla demanded that legal teams discredit Sebastian's claims, belittle him publicly, and threaten any media outlets daring to report the story. But Charles himself remained unusually silent. His quietness only deepened her fury, leading to accusations that the ghost of Diana was haunting and ruining them all over again. Her anger was so intense that she reportedly slammed doors hard enough to break door frames, not because she was dangerous to others, but because she was completely out of control. Insiders say what stung the most was the public sympathy for Sebastian. He didn't shout demands or chase royal titles. All he sought was acknowledgement. His calm and dignified approach made Camilla's furious outbursts look even worse. In a leaked message to a close friend, Camilla confessed her fears. They will paint him as the rightful heir. They will make me look like a fraud again after all, after everything I've sacrificed. Courtiers whisper that her emotional unraveling was reminiscent of Diana's most intense moments of despair, an agonizing mix of sadness, anxiety, and desperation. Behind closed doors, the poised queen had become a woman unraveling under pressure. What terrified Camilla most was the possibility of being replaced by a ghost from the past, by a secret, by a son who, by blood, could challenge her very claim to the throne. She was ready to fight fiercely to protect her crown and her position. As the chaos echoed through Clarence House and Camilla's rage reverberated behind closed doors, a different kind of silence settled elsewhere in the palace. But for Prince William and Kate, what was their true reaction to this royal earthquake? And how would it shape the future of the monarchy? Stay with us because the story is far from over. William and Kate's response to the royal DNA revelation was calculated and composed. Princess Catherine stood firm, not just for the cameras, but to protect the monarchy's fragile future. Her calm and steady expression was not indifference. It was a show of careful control in the eye of a storm. The palace was rattled by the explosive DNA revelations, and while whispers of betrayal echoed through its halls, William and Kate stayed silent. Behind closed doors, they tightened their inner circle, observing the chaos like skilled chess players mapping out their next moves. William was reportedly shaken but not shocked. Rumors of a secret half-brother had floated through royal circles for years, whispered by palace staff, tutors, and even gossip columns, but nothing had ever been proven until now. With the DNA results confirmed and leaked, the stakes couldn't be higher. This was no longer just a family scandal. It threatened public trust, the line of succession, and the monarchy's shaky image in a world demanding truth. William's quiet directive to his advisors was clear. We do not interfere. We do not smear. We wait and prepare. His priority was protecting Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, the future of the crown. A secret half-uncle like Sebastian could stir public opinion and unravel the palace's carefully guarded image. But William, trained for pressure, chose quiet strength over chaos. Kate stood firmly beside him, offering calm counsel behind palace walls and reminding him of the power of dignity. In public, the couple showed grace, attending events, supporting charities, smiling for cameras, while concealing the storm brewing behind the scenes. Privately, Kate led a quiet operation, assembling a media team to monitor every mention of Sebastian. They weren't silencing coverage. They were studying it. What they discovered shocked them. The public wasn't siding with Camilla or Charles. Sympathy leaned towards Sebastian, the composed outsider simply seeking the truth. The scandal was gaining momentum. The palace braced itself. The public wanted answers. And soon, whispers became demands, and silence from the royals only fueled suspicion. Some speculated William might reach out to Sebastian, while others believed he was waiting, watching whether Charles would speak, or let silence consume them all. But one thing was certain. William and Kate had learned from Diana's tragedy. They wouldn't repeat history. While Camilla unraveled and Charles retreated, the couple prepared quietly, methodically. Their strategy was calm, deliberate, and built for survival. 4 years, the secret had been a hushed rumor, hidden behind palace walls. But now, with a DNA test proving everything, the truth could no longer be denied. The DNA test left no room for doubt. Sebastian, a man raised away from the public eye, far from the royal spotlight, shared the blood of a king. His sharp eyes, the way he carried himself, even his voice echoed Charles in ways that were impossible to ignore. Science had given Sebastian the truth, and the world undeniable proof. Camilla's angry outbursts and fears of losing her place made headlines, exposing just how fragile her hold on power really was. But the deeper issue was the monarchy's long history of secrets and silence. In the center stood Charles, saying little, but his silence said everything. Sebastian's existence could no longer be denied. He was real. He was royal. His presence alone shook the foundations of the crown. For centuries, the monarchy seemed untouchable, but this truth exposed its humanity and its flaws. Royals bleed, lie, and hide secrets. But the truth has a way of surfacing, this time, with a birth certificate and a DNA test. William and Kate may manage the fallout, and the palace may spin its tale, but this secret is now part of royal history. The truth is out. What does it mean for the monarchy's future, and for Camilla? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.